Space, the freshest frontier. These are the adventures of the Black Daddies. Black Daddies in space!
You know what? You're a fucking joke. No wonder the Avengers didn't take you, or the X-Men, and they'll take fucking anyone. I mean, you are ridiculous, immature, half-wit moron. I have never met a sadder, more attention-starved, jabbering little prick in my entire life, and that says a lot because I've been alive for more than 200 fucking years. And I'll tell you, that bald chick was right about one thing. You will never save the world. You couldn't even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper. Motherfucker, I wish I could see you'll die alone. But it's one of God's best jokes that you can't die, except that it's on all of us. You got nothing to say, mouth?
God,
Welcome back to Black Daddies
damn.
in Space, everybody. We're gonna do Deadpool and Wolverine. Yay!
God damn you, black man. Tell him how you really feel about Deadpool. God damn, nigga, that was crazy. Not only, but you didn't even give a nigga a warning at the fact that you was going to recite that whole thing. So I'm sitting here like taken aback, like, God, not only did I not expect it, but that was very well done, my man. Dude.
I will say that is my favorite part of the entire movie.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
you-
There we go.
Sun and sunshine.
Boom.
Yay!
So I said kudos, and I said it was your favorite part because Logan speaks for you.
Yes. I was like, somebody had to say it. It's also the most like Mel Gibson that Hugh Jackman goes like ever. Like it is very Mel. He was just like, I'm just gonna put on my Mel Gibson hat, like classic Mel, not this fucking Mel. Classic.
No, not
before you know. But just like it's like nope. They were whoever wrote that, they were in their fucking bag, and just the way that like you hit the triplets of like God's great jokes that you can't die. It was like
no, and I think that's one of the things about the movie too that really got me to the point where, I mean, I know you have some criticisms about it, but I think that whole scene was made for fans like you. It was like to write that as brilliantly as it was delivered, like that spoke to a particular flaw in this character and the entire universe when it comes with the universe revolving that character. So
we will get there, but man, it'll be fun to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. But first off, I mean, here we are. Welcome back to Black Daddies in Space, everybody. We are three black men, three shaved heads, three lustrous beards, and of course, infinite opinion. Yeah, there it is. It's right there.
Shadow.
The shadow.
White shadow.
I'm doing the Ken Howard, I guess.
There we go.
If we wait here another minute, Salami will be the main character again.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't get me started.
Oh no. But we are here at myfreshtv.com. We're on the web. We're on Facebook Live at Harlem Film House. We're on the Metaverse. We're on Twitch at Hip Hop Film Fest. We're on LinkedIn. Search out our boss lady, CR Capers, on LinkedIn. LinkedIn Live. I think it's the best of the streaming lives. It's very good. But we are here. I am Black Daddy Professor. I'm here with the man who's quick with the pen and ready to bounce all perpetual line steppers, Black Daddy Dragon Black, and of course, the man who takes us from the darkness into the light, Black Daddy Sunshine. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. Oh, it's so good to see you. Like, yes. I'm not going to ask how our summers have been because, but we're here and we're back, and so glad to be here in the space together, to be here with Jeannie again, locking it down for us from behind the space screen, and we are doing it. But how are y'all doing today?
I am definitely in my joy. I need this. I need as much joy as I can get in my life at this point. And this is definitely this is my sunshine. Being back with the fellas, and we're in touch in between the shows, but just to see your faces and see the great logo, and just to be down again is just an absolute joy.
I mean, you are the real sunshine. That's why that's your name. Okay. Glad to have you back. I will say that this summer has been a little crazy, but at the same time, really good. One of the highlights is Karama and I went to go see Afropunk in Prospect Park, along with Erykah Badu and Duran Bernard. Like,
nice,
phenomenal performance, absolutely incredible, to the point where I'm like, and this is not taking anything away from Duran Bernard, but every time I see him perform, I think there's a ritual done on stage where Prince just comes back down and takes over his body, because like, nigga, what the fuck, bro? But like, and as someone who's seen Prince probably about 4 times live, I will say that Duran has like the capabilities, not going to say outperform him, but on par.
Wow, that's high praise.
Because shit had us going. Me and Karen was sitting there like, ha, yeah, the 2 oldest niggas in the whole entire bro. It was, but the thing that I loved about it was there was a whole bunch of younger cats that, you know, in their early 30s, late, 20s, and even in the early 20s, who were just out there being themselves, being free, being cool, and then just like enjoying this old school music that is Erykah Badu, and even Duran's brand of R&B and the way he performs is still reminiscent of old school funk and R&B. And it was just like, yo, I'm glad that y'all sit out here appreciating this, and not only appreciating it, but like pushing the shit forward. So yeah, that was a great thing that happened this summer, and I'm actually quite glad to be back here with y'all, because as much as we kind of felt that we needed to take a break to do things, but I just missed y'all faces. I missed the week to week. I missed the us bantering, because this used to be the outlet of like, nigga, I hate everything. Let me talk to my boys about this shit. Like, and the thing is, I know I'm horrible on text. Like, I come through, like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that shit was crazy. And then you don't see me for like a few days. But like the actual like vocal like interaction of like shit like that, I miss that, So I'm glad to see y'all.
Yeah, same here.
Glad to see you and glad to be seen. And with that, let's go ahead and get into it, because like, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened this summer. I mean, like, Kamala Harris is running for president now, and like all sorts of other insane shit. Remember when Trump got shot? Remember when that happened? that fell like right off the map. That became like a joke.
That was
like he squandered that moment.
Oh my God, that deserves this whole episode. That event deserves this whole episode.
We're not going to do that right now. Into the memory well. But in Geek World, there were a couple of things that we did want to comment on that happened while we were away, and we're going to start with this first one. that Robert Downey Jr. is gonna play Doctor Doom. You know, somehow. From I mean, apparently he'll be from the Fantastic Four universe because the Fantastic Four movie's happening in a different Earth than what is that, 616 in the
616 is our Earth.
The sacred timeline of DM. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, like, he's back. This will.
Oh, is this how they did it?
Yeah, this is how they did it at Comic-Con.
Oh, okay. I could totally see how Comic-Con would have lost their shit.
Yeah.
Oh, they did, and he emerged like a cult leader. And I was like, you know what? That's great vibes for Victor Von Doom. It's like,
yeah.
like, yes, worship me. It's like, but
Doom.
I don't know. Like, I mean, like, the only comment I really have is just like, I guess we'll see it, because I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what it's going to be like. For all we know, like, this man will roll out of bed in his pajamas to go into a voice booth and just voice a big ass dude in a metal suit, and we'll never see Doom's face. I hope we never see Doom's face, by the way.
That's what I'm talking about. Honestly, it's kind of like V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
The fact that Hugo Weaving did the voice for V and you never saw Hugo Weaving would have been phenomenal. Like, they could have gotten what's the dude, the older guy from Succession, forgot his name.
Oh, Brian Cox.
Yeah. He could have done the voice for Doom. And he wouldn't have to have one physical part. Just keep it anonymous the whole time. And then just
I would love that, because he would also rag on the entire project while like, publicly. Like, well, they paid me to walk in and I said things in the microphone, and that's movies now, I guess.
Yeah. That's what it is. I would love that. But like, to me, it feels like Robert Downey Jr. doing this. This is just they're trying to capitalize off of the 10 plus years that they just did the whole thing, and they call the most reliable source that they can get to do. There's so much more talent out there for them to do a whole new other character and bring a whole new nuance to what they started, and they missed the mark. Honestly, I think, to me, this, like, I know Moses said it before in the past, it's like, superhero fatigue. This to me is like not the superhero fatigue, but this is like, okay, y'all, come on, man, y'all could have done better than this shit.
Just like,
yeah, my first thought,
we need a full-on win, please.
My first thought when I heard this was that it was a bad idea for a couple of reasons. One, take your flowers, take a bow. You had the most spectacular run imaginable in these films, and you created a character that's almost impossible to recast right now. It would have to be maybe 20, 30 years from now before they make another Iron Man movie and take another direction. But the other thing is, it's like all the reasons why people loved Downey in these films, because God knows he's been in other movies that have not done well. So it's not just Downey. It's Downey in the Iron Man role. They want him to be a certain type of person. And Victor Von Doom is hopefully not going to be making the same kind of quips and sort of sly remarks and being obnoxious in the same way. His flaws that he takes himself too seriously. And if that's the way they're going to go, we're not going to get the Robert Downey, that we want. And I just think it muddies the waters. I'm not a huge fan of the multiverse thing to begin with, but the whole notion that, so he's a different Tony Stark, or is he, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I think it's kind of a lazy Hail Mary. I'll check it out because Downey's a fabulous actor and I trust the Russo brothers, but this feels like a bad idea to me.
And I mean, money wise, people behind the scenes, corporate wise, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Oh yeah, this was
I
an
mean, if you think
immediate
about it,
yes.
we're gonna get like one of those like behind the scenes YouTube deep dive creator content documentary video essays after someone did a shit ton of research and found old interviews in about 10 or 15 years of one of the Russo brothers talking about like, yeah, when the Suits had said get Robert Downey Jr. back, we totally didn't want to do that, but then their people got to him and we just had to go along with it. That I'm waiting for that interview to happen. Hopefully I'm alive to see it happen, just so I could be like, ha, I knew it. But like,
Yeah, like I'm sure there were like a lot of steps that led to this.
absolutely.
And and you just sort of consider the fact that like and again, I will continue to be on record to say that Marvel Studios, despite this being the quote unquote bad period, still batted like a B minus, which is about as like average as these movies tend to be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But but you consider that like the last like 5 years have just been like every single plan they had, God just laughed at it. Like to a huge degree. It was like, okay, well, we've got this amazing, super charismatic actor, our first like major like black superhero, and he's Afrofuturism, and we're gonna make all these movies with him, and the dude fucking dies of cancer. It's like, okay, well, we've got these plans, and we're gonna make these movies. No, there's COVID. You can't make all those movies anymore. Okay, well, what if we just make this stuff and we still keep on this plan? No, because Disney's got a new CEO, and they're like, well, we got to pour everything into streaming, so make a ton of shit. Just make so much shit that we just flood all the zone with everything. Okay, well, now we still have to figure out a new villain, and we have this idea with a multiverse and all this stuff, and it's going to be like another version of Thanos, and it'll be cool. And we got this great enterprising young actor that everybody's really hot about, and then that dude throws his whole career in the fucking toilet. It's like it's just like, what now? So
Yeah.
this felt like, okay, like we got to figure out a way. And we don't know what this is going to be, but there's a version of this that if they had the balls to be like, it will be Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom, but it's Victor Von Doom from a different universe, but he looks just like Tony Stark, and he tries to come back to 616 as Tony Stark and be like, I survived, I'm back, I don't know, crazy time magic and all this stuff. And you've got all the younger heroes who, of course, are also like way more diverse than the old school heroes. And now they have to fight a guy that's wearing the face of like the greatest hero of planet Earth, who literally died to save us all from Thanos and brought back half of the human race. Like, oh my God, that could be such a fuck you.
Because you're a huge comic book fan, that sounds actually pretty dope. Like that would be something that I would be like,
such a marvelous fuck you, and I would be so here for that. That's not what's going to happen.
That's not what's going to happen. Like, let's keep it a. It's funny, right? Because, and not to switch, genres and superheroes and everything, but Caramel and I watched My Adventures of Superman for the first time yesterday. We watched like the first 3 episodes. I hadn't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, we had some dinner and was like, all right, let's check out the first 3 episodes, see what's up. And I'm watching it and I'm like, yo, this is very well put together. This is like a retelling of, this is a really cool, new, like if you were younger, you didn't know what Superman was. This is a new retelling
it feels
cartoon.
Very 2024.
Thank you. And I was like, I like this. This is pretty cool. And I was like, how is it in the first 3 episodes, if you count collectively, is maybe about an hour and 20 minutes, already got me caring about the characters. However, in the actual big budget live action movies, I can give a shit about some of these characters. Like, I'm like, why the fuck did we do this? And then her and I started a conversation about like how certain stories are done in animated movies, and they have us invested. Like when it came down to even Marvel, that had a few animated movies that were cool, but DC has had it on lock, where they were able to tell full-on stories in a matter of 2 hours that had you so invested that you were just like, yo, that was dope as fuck.
Yeah.
But the live action movies fail.
That's
I
because
have a particular theory about that, but that, yeah.
My theory is
Zack
it's
Snyder
because
fundamentally doesn't understand these characters.
Yeah.
my theory is that Buzz Lightyear's manager doesn't interfere.
Yes, that is also the big. That is also the big part.
Yeah.
There are too many people. There are too many people who
Mhm.
swing the pendulum based on who's making the most money, who's got the biggest, you know what. And I mean, Marvel worked it out when Downey came back, and they scrapped their original Captain America trilogy to start Civil War and to go into all that. I mean, they figured that out, but that was all because Downey said he was willing to come back after Iron Man 3. So there's this giant wave that this man can create. And didn't he just win an Oscar for
Yeah, for
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
So like and so like reportedly he's gonna come back for this and could make upwards of $200 million for these two Avengers movies combined.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely wild. And Sunshine, to your point about like who's in charge at the top of the thing. You also think about how Marvel Studios took that big upswing after they were able to force like Perlmutter out.
Yeah.
Mr. Anti-woke,
I mean, yeah, I mean, like,
the main reason we didn't get a Black Widow movie for like 10 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it just becomes this ongoing, cyclical battle of art versus capitalism and what that represents in the whole scheme of things. But like, look, I can see the logic both ways. I personally, being an abolitionist motherfucker, I believe the whole system should go away and die peacefully out in the field. However, if you really want to get this system going again, start practicing practical capitalism, right? Listen to the actual fans that actually want things to happen, not the few that get a few likes and cause outrage on fucking social media and like, no, we're talking about like real fans of the shit, real creative minds. And trust me, your return will be way more than you wanted it to. There's a reason why, and we'll get into all this stuff when it comes down to some of the other topics that we're going to talk about. It's the reason why The Crow failed. It's the reason why like a whole bunch of other shit failed, is because that people that crunch the numbers, a bunch of motherfuckers, and trust me, I've dealt with a lot of them in person in real time, that think that they know better than everybody else when they really don't. We let these motherfuckers run amok and we get the shit that we get. And it's not surprising. And to me, as someone who's a fan of the genre, I'm a fan enough to know and see the people who are backing these things, do enough research to see who is involved in funding these things. And then I can make a decision as to why a show failed. I'm like, okay, I see what y'all motherfuckers did. You ruined it. I get it. It's not to say that the writer was bad. It's not to say that the acting was bad. It's not to say that no, I know what happens in the sideline of the motherfuckers who think that they know better, that want to make a decision and derails an entire production just to see that go through, only for it to fail. So
yeah, and these people aren't John Peters, like, at least John Peters will like give you something that's out there.
Exactly, like, but
the problem is, a big problem is that a lot of the people who make the decisions, putting the deal together is their win. The quality of the movie doesn't matter, because they can always fob that off on the filmmaker, on the writers, on the actors. If they put a deal together, I put together Robert Downey's latest deal. Now you got 5 years of good energy in Hollywood because you did that thing.
Yep.
But those people don't necessarily care or even understand what makes good quality stuff. Now, I'm not specifically talking about these filmmakers or these producers or whatever, but I'm just saying that's what I've seen in my tiny little brush with, getting my own stuff close. There's a whole thing where, wow, if I get John Travolta to play King Solomon, I'm golden. And you're like, ugh. That was not one of my projects, by the way, but that was just something that I've heard that when they were trying to do. Actually, they were trying to do the King David movie, and they wanted to cast John Travolta. And that just lets you know how producers think.
Wow.
People love ketchup on hamburgers. People love ice cream, so we need to make some ketchup ice cream and put it out now.
No, absolutely. I mean, and that's where. Like it becomes one of those things where you think that the people, and you know what, this is going also to the fans, that you get to a point where you have this huge investment into the fandom of this, to the point where they feel that you're malleable enough for them to manipulate you into believing what they're doing is right for the franchise when it really isn't. And they're using you, even if it's bad engagement and people hate it, they use that as a way to leverage why they did what they did. And they will continue to keep making more money. For them, it's an individualistic thing. Meanwhile, the rest of us are starving for content and then just getting taken advantage of. Which to me, I'm like, at some point,
that happened once Wall Street took over all of this and has been bleeding it dry ever since.
Yeah.
So and is it just me, or is it the lighting? I don't think that Downey's appearance is flattering here.
No, he tried to darken himself, man. That motherfucker got a tan like a motherfucker, because when he first pulled that, when he pulled that thing out, I thought it was a black. I'm gonna be real with you. When I watched this shit live, I thought it was a nigga under the shit. And when I saw him, I was like, oh, you tanned yourself, man. You suck. I could tell right away, because we could see.
You people.
Exactly. Yes. He got the same motherfucker from Tropic Thunder to give him that tan. I was like, when he did this shit and I saw the underpart, I was like, oh, we got a nigga that's gonna be Dr. Doom? Nah,
they got MF Doom. MF Doom is playing Dr. Doom.
Bruh. That would be the only time I'd be like, oh, MF Doom was on the same island that Tupac and Biggie are on. So they brought him out. It was like, yo, we're gonna do this shit.
Yeah, that would be fun. But let's get to another thing that we missed while we were away, which was that the trailer for Gladiator 2 dropped. And my God, like, I didn't know how much I needed Denzel Washington just doing Denzel Washington things in ancient Rome.
Right.
But like when that little like sneak preview like shows up with him at the table, I just hear him going, "My man!" Like it just. I mean, in Latin, I guess, but
right. What was the name of the character in Training Day? Alonzo. Right, we got Alonzo from Training Day. Like I'm gonna be real with you. Like let's keep it a buck. We didn't see the real after credit scene. It was the deleted scene in Training Day, where the Starcraft came and got Alonzo's body. They healed him and said, "We're gonna send you back in time. We're trying to run a social experiment on you humans. Let's see how you would do in ancient Rome." And they brought him back to life.
They put him in Sam Beckett's quantum leap machine.
Yes. And they sent him back. And see, but no, we ain't gonna send you back as a white man, as a white Roman. We're gonna send you as a whole nigga ass Roman, and you're gonna go back there and you're gonna go and be that same dude. Honestly, he's the only reason why I'm gonna see this shit. I see no point to having Gladiator 2 except for the fact that he's in there.
You know, the production looks spectacular. And did Ridley Scott direct this?
Yeah, he's back.
He needs a hit. And you know, this is really kind of fascinating, and I love this period, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I watched this trailer and my jaw sort of snapped open when he opened his mouth. And I will tell you this: I saw Denzel in Shakespeare in the Park, and oh my gosh, help me out here, brothers, because I'm having a brain fart. What is the play that starts now as the hour of our discontent?
No, didn't he play? Wasn't Hamlet? It was
No, it definitely was not Hamlet. No, it was
No.
the twisted king, the disfigured king who
Richard III.
Richard
Yeah.
III. So
Yeah.
so he comes out on stage and he says those famous words. And the man in front of me did exactly what was happening in my head. He went, Denzel is one of our greatest actors and will go down as one of our greatest actors. He was not convincing in as a period character in that any more than he was in this. It's just, he can do some things. This and Mighty Quinn are not among them. And
I love the shade because you didn't have to throw Mighty Quinn in.
but you know what I'm saying?
I've
But
seen Mighty
it
Quinn
just goes
so
to
many
show
times.
you.
I get it.
Dustin Hoffman can't play Clark Kent. I mean, there's just, Ben Kingsley is a great actor. I wouldn't cast him in certain roles. It's just actors shouldn't be expected to be able to do everything. And in my opinion,
True.
he comes off as so contemporary that it's really distracting.
But though I will say,
But I'm okay with that because everybody else has fucking British accents.
I mean, there is that. But I will say this though. I will give Ben Kingsley a pass for a motherfucker that played Gandhi.
Yeah.
To the
Well, there you
motherfucker he
go.
played in Sexy Beast.
Yes. And
Bro,
playing himself in The Sopranos and being hysterical.
Yes.
And then Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of those actors who could play 1,000 roles, but I bet you if we gave him 1,001, there'll be one role where we're like, this really wasn't the role for him. And I'm not taking anything away from Denzel. When he plays those contemporary characters, he holds that screen. He's always been magnetic.
Yeah.
I love the man, but this is one of those things where I feel like if it's a little too far out of the culture, I feel like he's distracting in the role.
See, you know what? I while I understand how you feel, I love the disruption though. It's kind of like when you're looking at like an old school like movie, like here is a whole group of people who are like these conservative types who are blah 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 blah, and here's the movie with them living in their neighborhood and they're being like whatever, and then but guest starring Chris Tucker, and he's like the disruption. Like that to me.
This is like whenever G. Robinson shows up in the 10 Commandments,
Exactly.
Yes, that was a perfect example. How distracting was that role?
It made me like horrible.
There's your God now.
Talking about it 70 years later.
Like,
there's your God now. See?
Exactly. Like, why not? Why not? Fuck it. Like, let's just let it play out for what it is. Yeah. Because
I'm
at the very most, this will be meme worthy. Like,
yeah, like I'm hoping for this that like because this movie looks like it is the First Blood Part 2.
Yeah.
To First Blood. Where they're just like, nope, we're going all out. We're going all out. We're getting all the hostages back. We're doing this.
I'm assuming he's playing Hannibal.
No, he's not. He's playing what's his name? Paul Mescal who's our new gladiator there. He is the son of Commodus's sister who had survived, but like this kid like got like thrown into exile when the emperorship was in upheaval after Commodus was fucking killed in the ring. And so he comes back, and Denzel Washington plays this like merchant who like runs a gladiator school, a ludus. And so like he's like training him, and he's got his own like eyes on like taking down the emperor. And then he meets this guy, and this guy's like, well, I actually have a blood right to the throne. And he's like, well, then how about we both go and try to burn this whole thing down?
I mean, I love it as far as the period
it
and the
sounds
premise
like,
goes.
you know, but
I
So
just want
we'll
to see if this
see.
will play
I
out.
wonder what voice Pedro Pascal is going to use for this movie.
yeah, I couldn't tell you. My God, Pedro, look, man, let's give that man his flowers, man. This dude is everywhere. I love this.
He's everywhere.
I love this.
Like,
I love,
do you understand? Like, the cast of this movie hits every vector.
yes,
Like you name the demographic, they want to see that person, and like they figured it out. Like when I was like, when I told my wife, I was like, hey, like Gladiator 2's coming out. She's like, oh, okay. And I was like, Pedro's in it. She's like, oh, I'm there. Can we go now?
right? That was the other, yeah. He's become one of those actors like that like he's, I guess, and I don't want anybody to take this wrong, but he is to the Latin community what Samuel L. Jackson is to us. Like, nigga, why is Samuel L. Jackson and Christopher Walken in a movie together? But it happened. Like, Sam was everywhere, but
Yeah.
now Pedro is the same dude. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
You have a production. It'll be about like mutant gray aliens versus ninja Martians, and for some reason, Pedro is there. Like, I've come to bring peace between both races. I'm like, what, nigga? Why are you here? Like, that's what
I would have bet
He has become the great Zaddy of Hollywood. Like
I would have
truly
bet
has.
that after the Wonder Woman movie, his career was over. And what a 180!
What a turnaround! What a
yeah, but
turnaround!
you know what though? The thing is,
But he just decided to forget that movie existed.
yeah,
As we all did.
we all forgot that movie existed. But the thing is, it's like, to me at that point, Pedro Pascal had did so much that I was kind of like, we all allowed to fuck up every now and then. I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah, we knew it wasn't his fault. We knew it wasn't
like,
his
we know
fault.
you're good. It's fine.
But I thought it was going to take. I thought it would take him down. But I think the thing that cemented his legacy was following The Last of Us with his brilliant appearances on SNL.
So
where
good.
you're like, this guy's
So
a
good.
great actor and he's funny as hell.
So good.
And just as charming as we all hoped he would be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely great.
for me, it was kind of like watching Mandalorian, even though we never physically saw him. Oh, well, we did a few times, but like every time Mando felt a certain way, I saw the Pedro Pascal like facial expression in my head. Like, this is like, I was like, oh, yeah.
And at this point, he just does the VO now, right? He does no physical acting for that show.
There's like 3 stuntmen that play the entire role. I think at this point he just comes and lends his voice, and then he just walks on set whenever he needs to.
Yeah.
Where's the kid?
Hey, it's good. It's good living if you can get it. Let's take a look at one thing that is like new that we found out about. And that is we got a teaser trailer for this new series coming up on Netflix called Secret Level. And from the guys behind Love, Death, and Robots. I'm sorry, it's going to be on Prime. This looks very dope as an anthology series sort of based on a lot of legendary video games. Mega Man, Dungeons and Dragons is in there. God of War is in there. Like this just looks dope as hell, and it looks expensive and like lavish.
Yeah.
And you get to do that when you only make like 8 episodes of some shit. And like, but it looks great. I'm intrigued to see like if how this coheres, if they decide to make it cohere at all. Just because, for those of us who are not gamers, like I know what some of these things are, but not all of them. But I trust these guys. I trust them.
Well, much like everything that you said, absolutely agree with. I will say, from what I'm seeing, because Sifu is in there. So the 3 that I'm really interested is Mega Man,
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Love
God of
Mega Man.
War, but like God of War is anything with Kratos in it is going to be dope. So fuck that. It's in its class by itself.
And they're going to bring back Carrie Payton to do Kratos, right? Like
Yeah,
they better.
I think so. We'll see what happens, but
Or get like Kevin Michael Richardson, like get an equivalent,
you know, but like to see Sifu though, and to also see Warhammer and Mega Man, those are the three stories I'm really looking forward to, because these are stories that, as a gamer, when you play the game, they never really end. All you can do is just keep adding more to it. So I don't know if you guys understand the concept of what Sifu is, but the concept of the game is you start off, you're young, you're 20, your master was killed, like an old Bruce Lee movie. Your master was killed, you're gonna go and avenge his death, and you have to fight through a whole underworld to do it. Here's the catch: it's a roguelike. So to describe for people that don't know what a roguelike is, like you start, everything you collect, all the experience you have, it only lasts up until you die. The moment you die, you start back at the beginning again.
Oh no.
Now, there are particular perks that you can carry over, but you can't carry over everything. So
wow.
with Sifu,
so you literally keep like reincarnating, like you're
Yes.
literally respawning.
Now here's the catch with Sifu. You start off as 20 years old. If you die during the combat, getting to the final boss, when you die, you come back and there's 1 or 2 years that are now added. You are now 22. You die again, you are now, and the more you keep dying, the more years get added on. When I played it, by the time I got, and I still haven't beaten that game. I've had that game for a year and a half. I still haven't beaten it. By the time I reached close to the last boss, I was 65. And the character ages every time you start over again. And here's the thing: certain moves you can't do anymore because you're not as agile, but you're more stronger with your fists.
Yeah,
so your
but
strength is like
you learn old man strength.
Exactly. So I thought it's a brilliant
Develop
game.
that outside jumper, you know.
Exactly. But I would love to see how they would depict it in here, because it the way that the story, you can only enjoy that story if you play the progress in the game at the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's very enjoyable. I mean, even though like when you fight and then you die, you start back in the beginning, but you'll learn things and you get added perks. And you're like, oh, I could do that. Oh, that's dope. Oh, I could do. And you go back. So then when you play again and you go up against the same dudes, you're doing different moves on them.
What a beautifully Eastern concept.
It's so cool. But like, you know, in a short form like storytelling concept, I don't know how to depict that. That's why I'm interested into seeing what they're going to do with this.
Yeah.
Same thing with Mega Man. Mega Man is just like, I'm a little short ass nigga with a big ass pellet gun. Pew pew. I want to know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah. It's like the whole world is open for that guy.
Yeah. And the Mega Man stories from the NES games onward, just deeply melancholy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no end. Like there's no end to his fight. Like there just never is.
Bro, there's like several different Mega Men. There's Mega Man X, Mega Man Alpha, Mega Man Zero, Mega Man, and then like, and you find out that each one is different. Like that, like it's just an ongoing thing.
Then also for Prime, this also, because you mentioned Warhammer, this also gets to be like, let's test out the proof of concept for if we actually are going to make this Warhammer 40K TV show, that like they have some sort of agreement in place with Games Workshop, and Henry Cavill really wants to make it.
Yeah.
If you've never heard anything about Warhammer 40K, it is insane. That thing is absolutely insane, because they were like, oh yeah, let's do Dungeons and Dragons, but let's just steal every single thing that we think is dope anywhere and just keep grafting it onto this.
So imagine a Lovecraftian universe with the same rules as Dungeons and Dragons, and the storylines are told like Game of Thrones. Like Warhammer is that's the reason why I want to see this.
Yeah, you,
I'm like,
you take like
how?
those three things and then like shove a bunch of Judas Priest albums in the middle.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's like this is a universe 40,000 years into the future that yeah, absolutely.
It's just
absolutely
like,
wild.
it's just insane. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that they're doing a lot of this stuff. Oh, the other games I'm interested in. I'll watch them when they come out, but those particular three, I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Looks great.
All right. Do we have? I think we have. We need to steer quickly into the whack zone. We have a how whack is that, and that is that yeah, like the Crow movie came and went. Nobody cares. It's whatever. But my point of contention in the whack zone is not necessarily this movie, which is it's just a bad movie. That's what happens. That's fine. But Alex Proyas, who directed The Crow from 1994, has been crowing a bit about this movie being a flop. And it just seems like terribly bad form. And also the fact it's like that he wants to complain about like, yeah, why did they try to do this remake or whatever? Totally ignoring the fact that like there have been already many sequels to that movie. They keep making Crow stuff. They've kept making Crow stuff because the whole idea is that the Crow is actually like the bird that will bring back a soul for vengeance. And so it could be anyone who dies an untimely, unjust death and comes back as a super powered ghost revenge tale. It's just like, dude, just let it go. Like they already did the shit. Like they can do it again. But your movie still is there, still exists. You still get to mourn the death of Brandon Lee. Like you get no one's taken any of that away from you. And also, Alex Proyas, you fucking made iRobot, and that's a piece of shit.
So there.
Yeah, like no one's making fun of that. We forgot that existed.
I mean, you know what? I haven't seen this movie yet. I did see a review on it from a trusted YouTuber about, horror, paranormal movies. And they had a very fair take on the movie. And a lot of the things that they would describe, it was a spoiler-free review. And
that's good.
A lot of the things that they had problems with was the same problems that I had going in after seeing the preview for it. However, there are a lot of actors in there that I do appreciate. I do like when I call them the Scarguards, Scarguards, Scarguard motherfuckers.
There's so many of these Scars.
There's so many of them. But like one of the you got the same dude that was from It. I love his acting stuff. Like everything he's in, I've always enjoyed watching. We also got, I can't remember his name, who plays a villain in this, who was in 30 Days of Night, and also he played Stryker in one of the Wolverine movies. I think it was.
Yeah, he's in everything.
I love those two actors, and also my heart, FKA Twigs. FKA Twigs is that's fam. Like if I ever met her in person, I'm gonna call her my cousin. Like that's we fam. I love her music. I love her aesthetic. Everything she does is off the hook. So I want to see that just to see what they brought to this film. And especially the fact that it's such a beloved thing by me, because I read the graphic novel when I was in high school and it resonated so much with me when I was younger. And even watching the movie, I felt that at the time when that came out, even with Brandon Lee, being in it and, him not being here anymore. And then even that, I was kind of like, yeah, man, they could have did this better, but I still enjoyed it. Right.
Yeah. That is a movie that really gets by on vibes.
Right.
Vibes are great. The vibes are strong in that movie. And
for me, it's like to see what Proyas was saying is like, yeah, nigga, sometimes you just got to shut the fuck up, man. Like, I get it, because why would you want to go after this particular movie? Meanwhile, the several sequels that came out, and this is the one thing that the YouTuber said that I actually loved. He said we had so many bad iterations and sequels to The Crow that this one seems to be quite more legit and actually closer to anything that we've ever seen from the original than anything else, because all those movies were so bad, and they were. I watched every single one of them, hoping that they would be good. So, you know what? Why not go after those dudes that went and made those movies, but you choose to come out now? And to me, that's more of a human thing. He's getting older. He felt that he still wanted to be relevant, and he was just like, fuck this movie. I'm gonna speak my piece now. That's what I feel like he did. It had nothing to do with the quality of the movie, what it brought to the franchise, whatever the hell you want to talk about, and everything else. And not for nothing, while we can have all these think pieces about this movie, has anybody actually contacted the actual creator of the franchise to ask what he thinks? Who's hitting up James O'Barr to say, yo, this new iteration, do you feel like it's kind of like, nope. No words.
Generally, like, what I've heard about this movie was that like they at least like tried to do something different with it,
right?
Than to just tell the same story again and again. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
like the way they did it just didn't work. Which, hey, that happens sometimes, and that's all right.
And that's
but
fine.
You know, I don't need to hear. I don't need to see the director of Gods of Egypt dancing on the grave of this movie.
Dude.
I just don't. I just don't.
Ouch.
I just don't. And mind you, Dark City, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Great movie.
Beautiful movie.
Of all time. All time. Love that movie. But dog, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this.
It costs nothing to just shut the fuck up and just let you go. It doesn't cost a damn thing. Like
or just do like the shady thing of just being like, hey, y'all can see The Crow from 1994 on XXX and X streaming service.
I would have respected that even more. I would have been like, I see what you did there. That's cool.
you know, and just be like, hey, I was just, people are talking about The Crow. I made one. I stand by it. Really loved it. Just wanted y'all to see it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunshine, that look.
that was me looking at the time.
He's like, Sunshine's like, yeah, the sun has set on this topic. We're done.
Well, let's go ahead and watch the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, and then we will talk a little Deadpool and Wolverine and then get out of here. How's that sound?
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, let's take a look at Deadpool and Wolverine.
I told you, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome anywhere. Now get the fuck out of my bar.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick, so upsy daisy. Here we go.
Oh, whiskey dick of the claws. It's quite common in Wolverines over 40.
You don't want this.
Unless you want to take a deep breath through your fucking forehead, I suggest you reconsider. I'm about to lose everything that I've ever cared about.
Not my fucking problem.
Is that what you said when your world went to shit?
Come again.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
Want to talk about what's haunting you, or should we wait for a third act flashback?
Go fuck yourself.
Life is a mystery.
I don't know anything about saving worlds, but you do.
Trust me, kid, I'm no hero.
You were an X-Man. You were the X-Man.
I am soaking wet right now.
so silly.
This is what I'm talking about. Big slow motion action sequence. Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Want to do some cocaine? Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even forest bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes! But I can't.
Yes. That
All right,
was
let's get into it.
okay.
The one thing that I said when I came out of this movie and I spoke to somebody who hadn't seen it was, it is exactly the movie they promised you.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Even down to the fact that every clip in the movie, in the trailer, is exactly the same in the movie. And because, you know, Marvel and Disney have had a real bad record with that. Yeah. I loved it. That's my card on the table.
I will say, I absolutely loved it too. But it's so funny to me to see how the how fandom will take a character, uplift them with a lot of expectations than the actual creator. Because honestly, I'm going to say this. It's on record because it's being recorded. Rob Liefeld, you and I can have a fight. I don't give a fuck. I'll take out your kneecaps. But at the same time, I don't think Rob Liefeld had enough in him to create a character to this magnitude. I think when he created Deadpool back in the day, it was like a little gotcha joke and everything. But the depth of what this character is was straight up other writers and fans that wanted to see it become what it's become. And to me, that's a testament. And it's also credit to Rob Liefeld for the original concept of having a character like this. But then we can't discredit also the other creators who came in and made Deadpool more of what he was and what is now. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where people who really like Deadpool as a character, you know, when those writers came in, they were like, well, because we like this character so much, we need to figure out a way to make him mean something.
Yeah.
And that's what you get here. It is what you get, and this movie is exactly what it billed itself to be. And I think it is remarkable that for all the delays to even get this movie, and it still feels like the other movies. You know, this isn't Deadpool 3 exactly, because I don't think it really takes off from the stories of the other two. But it's just like, this feels more like, and here's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one where Deadpool is in it. And, you know, and so like all of that, it works. I don't care for Deadpool. Never have, never liked the character. Don't care about the movies that much. Like, it's a style of humor that doesn't really work for me. It's a little too wordy a lot of the time. And just a little too like, see, isn't this funny? Look at this funny thing I said. See how funny that is? See, that's very funny. It's very, very funny. Look, I did funny things. And like, it's like, yo, if you stop poking me, you'd be like, see, look, I'm doing funny stuff. Like when this movie just lets the comedy live, I think like these movies really, really work then. And, you know, but like I said, like that's more of just like a personal taste thing for me, because this movie is extremely well made.
Yeah.
It is exactly what it wants to be. And and I do also appreciate that when they they have all the cameos and they do all this stuff. I think some of them work better than others, and like some of it is just like this movie ends up with its head so far up its own ass, where it's just like, here you go, fans, just drink it all down. We know you love it. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. And like it was like fine. I got most of the references or whatever, but I'm also like at this point I'm so tired that like I just can't. I just can't anymore.
Like
but,
I get you.
But but a character like Deadpool is impervious to all those criticisms because he's like, he'll put those own criticisms in his own goddamn movie.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
And it's like, yeah, see, you can't get me. I already got myself.
Yeah,
got that right. See, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? I'm just like, oh, God.
What's funny to me is that I've always said, even with the character that I created, right? I remember, I'm not gonna get into details about it, but I remember a certain person asking me, it was like, would you want to involve your character, the bouncer, in the comic book sagas and superhero sagas and everything else? I was like, Bouncer is not a superhero. It's like Bugs Bunny visiting the Marvel Universe. Like, what the fuck is he gonna do? It's like he's got the power of comedy. Like, there's no, But with Deadpool is kind of the same thing, except he actually does have powers that will make him. That only works within the context of the kind of shenanigans he gets into. Like,
yeah, I would go even further, Chuck, and say he only works in a Deadpool movie. You cannot put this character in another story without it coming.
Oh God, no, never
unthreading.
Never.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he will break any
see,
other kind of movie that you put him in.
Yeah, it becomes a Deadpool movie at that point.
I would love to see if he went up against Thanos, even though we know he would fucking eat shit. Like, at the same time, it would be hilarious to see. Like, that's just me. That's just me. This is just what it is. But let's talk about.
They'll see Thanos and be like, "Oh wow, is that glove ribbed for her pleasure?"
Exactly.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? I did it. It's funny, right?
Exactly.
It's very funny.
I'm sorry. I love that. I think it would be hilarious. But at the same
time,
or
like he would hear Thanos and be like, "Josh."
Exactly. But like, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and let's tell us as three shaven black men with big beards who have age on us. What was the most exciting part for you in this movie? Yes, Hugh Hackman did an amazing job. Deadpool is Deadpool, all that other shit. But when that particular nigga came up on screen,
some motherfuckers still want to skate uphill.
Bruh.
And the ghost of Wesley Snipes.
Bruh.
When he came walking in slow motion and it looked like they came on a cart to walk in the scene.
Now, here's my funny thing about this. Since this movie came out, all the narratives have now changed over Wesley Snipes being a piece of shit on the Blade 3 set. And everyone's like, well, it really wasn't. It wasn't
because
like,
now that he like supposedly made nice again with Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly.
Now no one wants to talk about what a piece of shit Wesley Snipes is.
Yeah.
It's really, really funny. But but it was fun to see him. Channing Tatum finally getting to be Gambit. Well, here's what I loved. I love that he was a Gambit. Whatever this Gambit is, woof. It was like, honestly, there's a reason they didn't let this Gambit out. He looks like this Gambit has always been in the void. Like,
did you see the newly released after credit thing that happened with him? Where, like, he actually survived the void.
Yeah.
So I was like, which is bullshit, because I think everybody survived the void. They just decided to target it on him. But like,
it's just another one. But I loved, Channing Tatum. It's funny because Channing Tatum now, like Channing Tatum's like walk around weight is a lot beefier than his Magic Mike days, which you know, to put that guy in the Gambit costume at this point is just a lot because man, he looks immense.
He
Where
looks
like
too
Gambit
big.
is meant to be sort of reedy, and you know, like
Yeah.
this is the guy that came right out of the bayou, you know, and he looks like he lives hard Scrabble, you know.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah. But no, I
man,
will say
he was a lot of fun. He was fun in this
this
movie.
this movie also left a lot more questions that were unanswered. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Like this shit. This first of all, how did X-23 get there? Is what I want to know. Like I could understand why. Like how did Elektra get there? Like what event happened after the original Daredevil movie that the TVA came through and said, "Nah, nigga, you can't be here no more," and then just doop. Like what
Yeah.
happened? Why would
Yeah,
they
it
do
was
that
fun.
to X-23?
It's like this movie like sort of because I think one of the things that is smart about this movie is the idea of like when a franchise ends.
Right.
Like so like do those characters keep going? Like where do they go? Like in
what
the
happens?
fictional
And
world. Like
also,
where do
one
they go?
thing-
Did they and they were just like, they just wind up here because like they
Right.
never their story's never finished. So
And then
they're
the other
just
thing-
over here and that's it.
Right.
But are these even those people from those movies? Which is the other
That's what I'm
question.
saying, which is the other thing to ask, right? So my thing was, okay,
Which
if
makes Sunshine's eyes just roll all the way.
like yeah, multiverse, fuck this bullshit.
Actually, I dug those characters who were stuck because I felt like in the meta world of the Deadpool comedy, I got it right away. These are all characters who Marvel put a lot of hope in that underperformed to their surprise. So it made perfect sense. Like, this is our content in Limbo, and these are our characters in Limbo. And like that really worked for me. That was one of those things where every time somebody stepped forward, I was like, okay, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Including Chris getting to be fun. Chris Evans getting to be funny again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you
Chewing-
see the after credit scene, him actually doing his Boston accent, like
yeah,
like that's the thing. But like, but that was the two things that I was going to bring up. Was like one, first and foremost, on what you just spoke about, Sunshine. It's like, to me, seeing the void as and I even saw it in Loki as where unfinished projects go to die.
Mm-hmm.
And much like everything else, it's the reason why companies love the multiverse concept is it drives the franchise forward. You can have a absolute void as to where you want to throw these characters into and then take them out of there whenever you want. Only because you want to recycle them as much times as you want. Oh, you love this character? We killed them all, but maybe did we really? Maybe there was another version of him. And then the same thing that Marvel did with their comics. It was the same thing. Like, I think a lot of people forget that when it came down to actual Marvel comics, and even some of the stuff in the DC universe, niggas was making shit up as they were going along. They introduced writers that were brilliant and brought a lot of great shit to the franchise, and then their time and their contracts finished, and they couldn't pay them anymore. And then it was just like, okay, what are we gonna do with the? Okay, hire another writer. Let's take what they did last time, since we did these same characters, and bring back another version of them. It's the same exact thing that's happening with the Void here. The other thing is the fact that Colossus, in this whole era of this version of Earth that Deadpool is in, why are they all at the table chilling and Colossus is like, Logan, you're still alive? What happened to you, my nigga? Like, what, bro?
What is happening?
Why didn't he have a moment
What is
with
happening?
him? Like,
what is happening?
I was a little upset by that. That's one thing that pissed me off in the
Yeah.
whole movie. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what is the connection to Wolverine and what he meant in Deadpool? Because Deadpool knew exactly who the fuck he was. So that means that he at some point was alive during his whole thing. What happened? Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah, that's where like pieces of this movie, like just like as a movie, like don't fit together exactly. But all the same, it was, like, again, like, I don't care about this character, and they try to make me care about this character. And I think like that was something that was really tough for me watching this, because it's like, oh, he's trying to make himself matter, and he's trying to do all these things, and I'm just like, I don't care, man. I don't care about you. But Cassandra Nova, great, really well done, very creepy, like that. And Hugh Jackman absolutely did it. And look, there was something amazing about finally getting to see him put on the fucking mask.
It was actually pretty dope.
It was like, nope, time to kill shit. This is when I put the mask on. This is when Logan becomes the Wolverine. Okay. Like,
and I'm glad they kept the narrative that way. They kept it. He wore it as a hood the whole time and was just like, all right, it's time to get serious.
Yeah. Which was also funny because they do that big fight, and it's like, y'all know they regenerate, right? Like,
the thing that I think that really surprised me about this movie was that it had moments that felt genuine and sincere to me. And that was one of the things I couldn't get past the first two Deadpool movies. Even though I like the character and I love Reynolds in it, I think he's as perfect a fit with this character as any Marvel character that's been cast well. But I was really surprised that there were moments that felt very sincere with both Logan, which not a big surprise with Logan, because Logan has always had a lot of colors. But with with Deadpool. And I love the fact that these actors can do drama and comedy and action really well. That's what kept drawing me in. Because in the other movies, I like the characters more than I liked the movie. I always thought the Deadpool movies ran about 20 minutes too long. I thought they outlived the joke of the film. And I thought that certain scenes, like, we get it, we don't need to put something up Colossus's behind to at this point, like, this action scene should be over. But I thought this would be a pleasant amusement, and I would get to see Wolverine done right. I didn't think I would come out of this movie loving it. I went back to see it a second time in 3D, where I highly recommend, if you have not seen it in 3D, this is a 3D movie.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I mean, like, the car fight alone, is like, because like they shot it in ways like to just give you all those like depths of field throughout, and it's very dynamic. Like, I think it's very dynamic.
I have something, a little bit of trivia for y'all. Do you know? Okay, I'm gonna look this up and I'm gonna send this to y'all at some point, and I'll like put the link in the comments to this stuff or whatever. But did y'all know that there's an actual tournament for car fighting?
What?
Based on what they did, there is a tournament where you got two motherfuckers that will be in a car and fight each other to submission in the confines of a car.
Oh my God, really?
That is the joke.
Yo, I'm
know.
looking this up right now. They call it Karjitsu.
Nigga, right there.
That is hysterical.
That's why I was kind of like, why is it so important that they have this in the, like, it's not until Caramel was the one who showed, she sent me a video. She was like, this is the scene from Wolverine and Deadpool. And I was like, what is this? And I was like,
I'm watching like two dudes like doing like fighting in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match inside a car.
Inside a car.
I love it. I love it, man. People never run out of ideas.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, it's so crazy to me, because I was
putting
like,
that right
what
up there
is
with
so
chess
significant?
boxing.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
that was
right up there.
So I before we go, I just wanted to put that out there. There was one of the things I forgot to mention in the beginning, was that was an actual thing.
Well, you know what? I don't think we're gonna do better than that. So
no.
Everybody go watch Karjitsu, and enjoy more Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I was happy with this, just sort of being the lark that it is. and I don't need them to build off this in any way, shape, or form. Like I think like the Deadpool stuff actually works better when it is just these movies just happen in a vacuum and just let them be what they are. Like it is a little like playground where you just get to take all the action figures and just do this for 2 hours and like and then you put them away and it doesn't matter. Like I think that makes them fun.
Wolverine is a character who would be at home as an illustration on the notebook of a junior high school kid.
Which is exactly
why are you calling me out, man?
To tap into. Always meant to tap into that. These are always supposed to tap into the 14-year-old boy in all of us.
Absolutely.
Bullseye. Gotta say, bullseye.
Well, with that said, this has been another fine episode of Black Daddies in Space. Thank you, everybody out there in the internet land who is finding us again. We're going to share this stuff far and wide. And to let you know, for the future, we are now doing the podcast 2 times a month. We are no longer going to do a weekly podcast. We're going to do it 2 times a month. Life be lifing for us. And we want to still be able to put out a show as good a quality as it has been, and that means we need a little more time in between the shows in order to do that while we handle life's other vagaries. So that schedule is going to be roughly the first and third Wednesday of every month. So we will be back next week to start that new cadence, and we'll be back with Batman Caped Crusader. So we will see you next week, and then we'll be here every other week. Thanks again to Jeannie for everything that she does behind the scenes there, behind the space screen. And for Sunshine and Dragon Black, I'm the Professor. And remember, always bet on black. Big ups to Lord Darth Vader, the original Black Daddy in Space. Until next time, we out.
Space, the freshest frontier. These are the adventures of the Black Daddies. Daddies in